Hey, what's going on, fam? So, first of all, let me say this. No, I'm not taking the side of Yvette and Tone really against anyone, but especially not against other black people who want reparations and have realized some of the flaws of Yvette and Tone. So, no, I'm not really taking sides against Yvette and Tone. Like I said, really against anyone, but especially not against other black people who want reparations. But the reason why I titled that video, first of all, A, to be a little sarcastic, but B, also to say, yes, I am actually taking their side, but only on one particular issue or topic. I'm not overall taking the side of ADUNCE or Yvette and Tone, like I said, against anyone. But on the particular examples and on the particular screen cap that I'm using for this video, I am going to more so lean toward Yvette and Tone's side while still calling them out. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So the tweet that I'm using is from a Yvette Carnell responding to a brother named Tony Blunt or Tony Blount. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it, but it's spelled Blount, but it might be Blunt or whatever. But anyway, Tony Blunt or Tony Blount. He writes a tweet that says, um, "It feels silly looking back. I put down an organization's name on my permanent census record, not knowing it was an organization. Guess I'm the stupid one who misunderstood." So this brother is talking about the fact how he was so committed to ADOS slash ADUNCE that he put ADUNCE as his ethnicity and didn't know that it was a business or a corporation. He didn't know that basically he was listing the equivalent of AT&T or Starbucks or McDonald's as his ethnicity, because ADUNCE has become, or ADOS has become, a business, a brand, a corporation, an organization. And it is not a lineage, period. That's what Yvette and Tone are now saying, that ADOS is not a lineage, period. It's a movement, it's an organization only. It's not a lineage. Which is a moving of the goalposts, because we know that Yvette and Tone have referred to the 20-something million black Americans as ADOS, or 40-something million black Americans as ADOS, on multiple occasions. So this is a straight up moving of the goalpost, and that's why the brother is upset. And I understand. I would be upset. Actually, I was upset at the moving of the goal. This exact same moving of the goalposts. I was mad at it too. So I can't be mad at this brother for being mad. However, I can be mad at this brother for being mad now. So let's go ahead and read Yvette's response, because it ties into why I'm saying that I'm mad at this brother for being mad now, because I don't know much about this brother Tony Blunt or Tony Blount, but I do know that he stuck with the ADUNCE ADOS organization while they were promoting suicide down ballot and having double talking points against FBA, and triple talk and quadruple talk, and triple talk and double talk and triple talk and quadruple talk to defend suicide down ballot. This brother was sticking with them then. That's all I know about him. So I don't know if he's a good dude, bad dude, but I do question him, because he like all the other people who are now quote unquote in the assembly, you stuck with Yvette while she was showing these traits for a whole year, but you didn't turn on her until these traits started getting directed at you. The double talking traits started getting directed at you. So anyway, let's read Yvette's response and why I agree with Yvette's response. So she says, "Except that when you and I spoke on the phone about ADOS becoming an organization, you said you were on board. This was the key lesson that I took from the FBA debacle, that we needed to build and protect our movement." Let me read that paragraph one more time, because that's very important to the points I'm about to make. "This was the key lesson that I took from the FBA debacle, that we needed to build and protect our movement. Eventually, it became clear that an org was the only way to make that happen." So what's Yvette saying? She's saying, fam, I told y'all that I was making this an organization. What did I say in my last video and in other videos? Yvette has been doing this and moving the goalposts towards being only an organization and not being a lineage at the exact same time that she started the beef with FBA and Tariq. That's exactly what I said, and Yvette is repeating that almost verbatim, because she's saying this was the key lesson that I took from the FBA debacle. So, fam, my question is, and Yvette's question is, why are y'all mad now? when both I've been saying and seeing, and Yvette is telling you now and saying that she not only told y'all, but she told certain people straight up over the phone that she was going to move the goalposts. And y'all are getting mad now. Why? And I agree with Yvette. That's why I say me and Yvette are in lockstep on this particular topic that she's discussing with his brother Tony Blunt or Tony Blount. I 100,000% agree with Yvette. Why are y'all mad now? Because she's been moving the goalpost for over a year. She's been switching up, flipping the script, abandoning what she was originally saying, slowly but surely for over a year. And the number one red flag of her abandoning things that she said before was her justifications and defenses of the suicide down ballot strategy. And my bad for that alarm, fam. Oh, shit. I hate that. That always happens during my damn videos. But anyway, disregard. I digress. Um, so fam, that's all I'm saying is that she had been moving the goalposts. And so what I want to know is why are the people in ADOS Assembly just now being upset and affected by Yvette being a double talker, pretending that she didn't say things that she said, switching and flipping the script and not admitting that she's actually flipping the script, switching the script and pretending like this is what she's been saying all along and it's just that we were too stupid to understand and now she's pretending that y'all are too stupid to understand. Why are y'all mad at that now? She was calling us grifters for calling out her double talk and her flipping of the script. And a lot of y'all were co-signing her calling us grifters. And now the same one of y'all who were co-signing her calling us grifters, now she's calling you a grifter. Because that grifter insult is not sincere. That's just a damn compulsive reaction that her and her cult members have. And oh yeah, by the way, a lot of y'all saying that she's a cult now. I've been saying that she was a cult. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put the video where I have been saying that ADOS was a cult-like movement 6-7 months ago. And now you have a lot of the people in the ADOS assembly calling ADOS a cult. But a lot of those same people would attack me for calling it a cult. So again, fam, I ask, why are these people all of a sudden, first of all, why are some of the ADOS people all of a sudden agreeing with me when I say double talk and that they're acting like a cult? But also, why are they upset with Yvette? And this is what I agree with Yvette on again. Why are they now upset with Yvette when she's been moving the goalposts for over a year? Oh, because you had a personality preference. You didn't like Tariq. You didn't have a substantive reason to not like him. You didn't. You can't prove that. Again, there are certain reasons to disagree or disapprove of some of the things he said. But with the overall fact that the brother was on code, you didn't have a reason to believe that he was a scammer. So I misspoke. You may have had a reason to dislike him. I'm not going to say the brother is perfect. So yes, you may have had a reason to dislike the brother, but that's petty. And if people like me who didn't like Yvette from the beginning of the movement, if we had gone against ADOS, if people like myself had gone against ADOS just because I didn't like Yvette and I didn't have any other substantive reason to go against her, a lot of y'all would attack me. Y'all would have attacked me then when FBA and ADOS first started. Y'all would have been attacking me when ADOS and FBA first split. And most of y'all would have been attacking me up until maybe 2 weeks ago. And maybe some of you would still attack me because you are not going against Yvette, or a lot of you are not going against Yvette just because you don't like her. You're going against Yvette for principal reasons, and I understand that. But my problem is why didn't you have a problem with these same exact things over a year ago when I was saying that she was that ADOS was acting like a cult? Where was the brother Chris, ADOS politics sack? Where was he to side with me then? Where was his brother Marlon to side with me then? Where was the sister Cass for Prez to side with me then? Where was the sister Cam Glamming to side with me then? Y'all were nowhere to be found. As a matter of fact, almost all those people I would just named are the sister queen of LA. Almost all the people that I just named were spending energies attacking FBA. And people like myself were calling out the cult-like traits in ADOS. And so, fam, that's really all this video is about, is why are y'all mad now when Yvette has been showing the double talking traits, the gaslighting traits, the flipping the script traits, the moving the goalpost from a lineage to an organization traits that she started showing and admitting to immediately as soon as she started attacking Tariq? Because the defense was when she was pretending to have fake outrage over Tariq making people think that we might be Republicans, and Tariq's and other people were defending him. Response was, you can't dictate who a lineage votes for. And that's when they started saying, we're not just a lineage, we're a lineage and a movement. They That was the beginning of the goalpost movement, and some of us responded when they said that, like, hey, whoa, 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 that's not what we agreed to. We said that this was strictly a lineage with no leaders. Now it's a lineage, but it's also a movement that has leaders. You're already moving the goalposts, and we ain't with that, because we agreed to certain principles for a reason. We didn't pull out those leaderless principles out of our behind. We didn't pull that not being an organization out of our behind. But because of you were so sheepish, a lot of you were so sheepishly dedicated to Yvette, you believed her lies that the reason why we didn't want to be an organization was because we were lazy and we didn't want to do the work and we didn't have the education. Now you see that it was strictly as a goalpost moving move, which is what we were saying from the beginning, over a year ago. And what I want to know is why a lot of y'all in the ADOS assembly and in the reparationist collective didn't join us then. And I know why. It's because you had petty, childish, personality-based reasons why you didn't like Tariq, because you cannot prove that he's scamming black people. You can't prove it. And that's what I meant when I was saying earlier that, maybe you do have a reason to dislike him, but you don't have an excuse to believe he's a scammer. You don't have evidence. You don't. I'm sorry, you don't. So you chose petty ass reasons to follow Yvette and start attacking FBA and not listen to our strategies, because you were not basing your decisions in principles. Let me give you guys an example. I was using another video about like being a thief or a pedophile or whatever it is. If you are or violence, even, let's just use violence. And again, I'm not saying that anybody is threatening anybody or will threaten anybody, but let's just say hypothetically, that when the ADOS and FBA beef started, and it should not have been a beef because they both mean the same thing. So until we got certain toxic grifters involved whose names start with Y and T, there was no difference between ADOS and FBA. However, because the toxic grifters made there be a difference, let's just say that when ADOS and FBA first started quote unquote beefing, let's just say FBA people started using violence and physically attacking and assaulting people who were associated with ADOS. Let's just say hypothetically that happened. Rightfully so, a lot of FBA, a lot of people who aren't taking either side, and even 100% of ADOS would condemn the violence, because what would people say? Even though you don't agree or you don't like somebody, that's not an excuse to commit violence against them. And that's the point that I'm trying to make, fam. But in this case with the ADOS and FBA thing, this is like if Yvette and Tone had started telling certain of their members to commit violence against people who are FBA or call themselves FBA, and the ADOS people had no problem with it. But then all of a sudden, when Yvette started telling those same ADOS goons in her organization to start attacking some of her own ADOS members, now all of a sudden y'all got a problem with it. That's just basically the equal of this. That's what I'm saying, fam. Y'all didn't really have a problem with double talk. Y'all don't really have a problem with it not being a lineage. Because if you did, you would have jumped ship from this sister a long time ago. You would have jumped ship from her the moment she said suicide down ballot and to vote for ballot initiatives and tax programs that have nothing to do with a black agenda. Because again, 90% of policy comes from politicians. So if you can rationalize to yourself, again, if you can rationalize to yourself that it is okay to vote for ballot initiatives that have no black agenda, You can rationalize to yourself to vote for politicians who have no black agenda. You can use the same exact excuse Yvette gave you to vote for ballot initiatives to vote for politicians, because you are not getting reparations on a ballot initiative. You are not getting 90% of American policy and American law from no damn ballot initiative. That is a very small percentage of how laws are made are through direct votes and ballot initiatives. So for a vet to tell you that it's important to go to the polls for a ballot initiative that has nothing to do with a black agenda, you can take that same logic and use it to justify voting for a politician who promotes Medicare for all or student loan forgiveness or a bunch of other policies that have nothing to do with FBA directly, because a vet told you it was okay because these are the policies that affect you and your community and they don't have to have a black agenda. So even though she was, again, double talking out the other side of her mouth and claiming, but don't support Biden, she gave you every excuse to support Biden and every other Democrat in your local area. And then not only on top of that, instead of admitting that it's extremely rare for a black person to live in an area that has even one politician with a black agenda, she made it sound crazy. If you live somewhere, if you live in La La Land, if you live in Willy Wonka Land, if you went to Avengers Endgame and went to an alternate timeline, and you somehow ended up in an area where there's no black agenda. So she made it sound like everybody's got a black agenda. This is the kind of double talk, while at the same time saying, I don't want you to support Democrats. I'm just saying vote for who you like and what affects your community, and you need to stay engaged. And here's all these tax initiatives and ballot initiatives that you need to vote for that have nothing to do with the plight of ADOS. Even though I just spent a year telling you how we need to center our politics around a specific black ADOS agenda. Even though I just spent a year telling you that, now that it's coming up on the election and now that we've had our inaugural ADUNCE conference, now we need to start voting for dog catcher. That has nothing to do with a black agenda, because that affects me and my community. So why can't you use that logic and say, well, Medicare for all affects me and my community, my local community. Student loan forgiveness affects me and my local community, even though I'm also voting for a pro-immigrant candidate who's going to take more jobs from me. Or Biden's $2,000 stimulus. Well, that affects me and my community, so I need to vote for Joe Biden. You tell me how you can't use the same logic. And then on top of all of that, Tone is coming out of his mouth saying a Democrat down ballot means consistently vote for Democrats. He said that. It's undeniable. So, fam, that's why I'm making this video, is to ask, why are y'all upset that Yvette is a double talker and that she's been moving the goalposts? And like in her response to this brother, Tony Blunt, why are you mad now, bro? And again, I don't know this brother, so it's not strictly to just jump on him or jump down his throat. I've never had an interaction with this brother, Tony Blount or Tony Blunt. But the question is to him and everybody else who's in his situation. Why now? But you don't have to answer that question, because I know why. Because y'all didn't understand white supremacy, and you made your choices based on petty ass personality differences. Now, fam, the last thing that I want to say is that Yvette is justifying this split. Um, or let me back up. So again, like I said, y'all chose petty ass personality differences, and that's why you're ending up in the situation that you're in now. You don't really truly fully understand white supremacy, which is why, even though some of y'all are moving on with the work, and yes, maybe that's good for some of y'all don't need to be doing work. Some of y'all need to sit down and learn and get educated, because you just shown for a whole damn year that you don't need to be out in the streets doing no kind of work, because you don't really understand why we need reparations. And the reason why we need reparations is white supremacy. And if you understood white supremacy, there's no way in hell you could have gone along with suicide down ballot, no matter how much you dislike Tariq. I don't care if you hate Tariq with all your soul. There's no way you could have gone with suicide down ballot unless you don't understand white supremacy. So a lot of y'all that's over there starting the ADOS assembly and the reparations collective, some of y'all need to sit down. Some of y'all, yeah, y'all good. Keep doing the work, and we appreciate your work, and we need you to continue to fight. But some of y'all need to sit y'all asses down, because you just gonna go from one stupid strategy to another, because you don't understand white supremacy, and you're gonna go from doing one type of damage to the movement to doing another type of damage. So some of y'all, I'm not gonna say no names, but some of y'all need to sit down and learn and understand white supremacy. Study Neely Fuller. Study Marimba Ani. Study some of our scholars. Study Brother Amos Wilson. And then get back on the fight for reparations so you can understand what the hell you dealing with and who the hell you dealing with. And that way you'll also be more alert when people are promoting BS to you, so that you don't have to hang around with them for a year until their BS gets directed at you, and then you realize what their problem is. But anyway, I digress. Obviously, I'm a little bit irritated with these cats. But anyway, fam, the only other thing that I want to say is Yvette is now using, again, the same excuse that she used towards Tariq and FBAs. Oh, there are people out here saying things that are going to get attributed to us. Remember, it was the fake outrage that, oh, people might think that we support Republicans. People might think that we support Republicans. Oh, FBAs are out here saying all this irresponsible stuff. So apparently Yvette's excuse and justification for turning on all these people that she's turned on within her movement, the most recent, the people who are now forming the ADOS assembly, is the same exact excuse. Oh, y'all can't be saying this and y'all can't be saying that, and this is why I gotta have an organization. And look, the Harvard article. And fam, let me go ahead and debunk her excuse, because again, this was the same excuse that she used towards FBA. Oh, y'all can't be saying this and that, and this is why I gotta regulate on you, because this is why I gotta get you out of our movement, because you gonna be saying things that they gonna attribute to us, and they gonna think we are Republican and we are Trump supporter. And now this is their same excuse for attacking people in their own movement. And again, fam, as I said then and as I'm saying now, it's insincere. That's why they're using the same insults, grifter. Fam, let me go ahead and debunk Yvette's point about that Harvard article. First of all, that Harvard article used 90% of Yvette and Tone's tweets, and maybe only 10% people who are quote unquote members of the ADOS organization. They used 90% of Yvette and Tone's tweets to make those points against them. 90%. And then 90% of that 90% that was Yvette and Tone's tweets were strictly Yvette. They were using mostly Yvette's tweets to make their points. So her trying to blame her followers for the Harvard article, and quote unquote irresponsible followers who are using the ADOS brand and causing her to get blamed for stuff that she doesn't agree with. No, Yvette, they were using your tweets, which ties into another point that I was making. Fam, the respectability argument is stupid, because first of all, if you're so worried about what people think, people keep thinking that the fact that you have a lineage-based movement, period, is divisive. So why don't you stop having a lineage-based movement? Because some people think that that's divisive. Oh, because you're being selective and having fake outrage over worrying about what people think. Number two, Yvette, they did not use a bunch of other people's tweets. They used your tweets to attack you. So even though you've gone all this double agent talk, all this Democrat suicide down ballot talk, because you're so allegedly so afraid of what the dominant society is going to think of you, and they're going to call you homophobic and xenophobic, and you're so worried about them calling you names that's why you have to turn on your own people. You so worried about what white massa daddy is going to think. Yet you've done all of that. You purged FBA, and they still used your tweets of that, not some random troll account that only has 3 followers. They used Breaking Brown's tweets to make these points that she's trying to get people to vote for Republicans. So you did all this ass kissing, all this double talking, all this turning on your people, and they still call you a right winger, even though every time you attack FBA or now people in the ADOS assembly, you use the excuse that it's because you don't want people thinking your organization is a right-wing, xenophobic, homophobic organization. Yet you've done all of that and you're still getting called right-wing. You know why? Because you don't damn understand white supremacy. And you don't understand that the white supremacists just don't want you to have reparations, period. And it doesn't matter what you say or how you say it. They're going to keep moving the goalposts and keep having a problem with you until you just stop wanting reparations and stop wanting black empowerment, period. That's the only thing that's going to make them happy. This is how white supremacy works. They dominate you. You cannot appease them by trying to be scared and trying to make sure you don't say anything ever that offends anybody. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. Yvette, you can kiss all the ass and pretend to be Democrat down ballot all you want. They're still going to call you a damn Republican because they don't care. They don't care that you're trying to, quote unquote, be responsible. They don't give a fuck about that. They said to you and want you to bow down 100% to the white supremacy status quo. If you bow down 98%, they're still going to find a problem with you and attack you. So as long as you're semi pretending to be fighting for black empowerment and semi pretending to fight for reparations, they are going to attack you and call you a right winger because they don't want your black ass or any of us to have reparations. And this is why I say move it. This is why I say understanding white supremacy is so important. Because if Yvette truly understood white supremacy, there's no way she would use what other people think and how they're going to attach it to ADOS to attack either FBA or now her own people. There's no way she could use that excuse if she understood white supremacy. And fam, like I said in my last video, them trying to use this argument that, oh, Harvard attacking ADOS proves that they're serious. No, it doesn't, fam. The FBI put out, there were articles put out that the FBI was so-called targeting Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is not serious. Again, Republicans used to call Barack Obama the biggest Black Panther, radical, black extremist there ever was. The secret Malcolm X, I hate white devils, racist, and he's not that. He's never been that. He was the complete opposite of a black radical, black racist extremist. And again, a black racist doesn't exist in my eyes, and I don't view black liberation fighters as extremists. But I'm just using white people terms. Does that mean that Barack Obama was actually a black radical and a black extremist? No. It just means that when we look at white supremacy, they use certain people as proxies to avoid having to talk about the people who are really about that life because they don't want to bring any attention to them and possibly get them gaining more followers. Hell, we can even go back to the 60s and the 70s, fam. With all due respect to Martin Luther King, especially now, later in his life, he woke up. But early in his activism, fam, and Malcolm, you can find tapes of Malcolm X used to talk about this. The media used to prop up Martin Luther King and the nonviolent Negroes in order to not have to talk about Malcolm X and other black people who weren't necessarily in the Nation of Islam, who were about that self-defense life. And Malcolm X used to talk about that. He used to talk about how Martin Luther King was the white man's N-word and stuff like that. And I hate to say it, I have respect for Martin Luther King, but at that time, Malcolm X was right. Martin Luther King started off as a shill. He didn't realize he was a shill, which is why when he did realize he was a shill and started turning on the people who were the white supremacist handlers who were encouraging him to be a shill, that's when they had to take him off the map. So we can go back time and time again and see where white supremacy uses the non-threatening organization as a proxy in order to attack the people or the non-threatening group or organization or whatever it is, to attack the group of activists that they are really threatened by. And that's the case with them choosing ADOS. That's a proxy for the FBAs and the other really about that life grassroots activists. But they don't want to talk about the real grassroots activists because they don't want to bring attention to them. They would rather bring attention to ADUNCE, so just in case somebody reads the article and is actually inspired to join, they'll join a suicidal down ballot nothing organization instead of joining an actual reparations movement with people who actually understand white supremacy. But anyway, fam, this video is actually going on a lot longer than I intended. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Morpheus Unplugged and Yvette and Tone finally agree on something. And that's why are y'all mad now that ADOS has moved the goalposts? Why are y'all mad now? When Yvette has been telling you that for over a year. But again, we know why y'all are mad now. Because when the signs were being shown before, it's just because it wasn't being directed at you and it was being directed at someone that you didn't like. Fam, it's like what I said I just gave the examples of how white supremacy, we can see many times in history where they've used uh, the weaker or the softer version of a black movement as and attack them as a proxy for the real grassroots, really about that life people. Another thing that is done, not maybe under white supremacy, but what I guess basically what people, what society does in general, or people in society do, is again they will use a person that you don't like, and this is back to Yvette and Tone. They will use a person that you don't like in order to start to begin to normalize. They will use something or a tactic against a person that you don't like and most people don't like, or a lot of people don't like, as a proxy to make it okay to start doing that same thing or that same tactic, or start using that same tactic against people who normally would be liked. For example, Donald Trump and the censorship stuff. They use Donald Trump as a proxy because they made so many people agree that they hate him. So they knew that if they censored him, a lot of people would be okay with it because it's Donald Trump. However, that was just opening the doors to make you okay with it when they start censoring you and start censoring other people who aren't Donald Trump, but are also saying things that aren't approved by the society and by the system. And just like with a lot of liberals and Democrats fell for the censorship trick bag because it was being directed at Trump and Republicans, a lot of y'all who are now in the ADOS assembly, y'all fell for the double talk suicide trick bag because it was being directed at Tariq and FBA, who you didn't like. And that's the lesson that y'all need to learn. So for those of you who can learn that lesson and will know going forward that you need to understand white supremacy and you need to pay attention to the flags of people who don't understand when you see red flags that someone doesn't understand white supremacy, and also when you see somebody double talking and triple talking, it doesn't matter who they're directing the double talk and triple talk at, you probably want to get away from that person. If y'all have learned those lessons, yes, continue to work. But if you haven't learned those lessons, which I know some of you haven't, you need to sit down, fam. You don't need to be in the ADOS collective. And the last thing I want to say, fam, about ADOS, because a lot of it is y'all fighting over this name, ADOS is a grammatically incorrect term. American descendant of slaves includes immigrants. If you're an American and you're a descendant of slaves, if you're a descendant of Haitian slaves or Jamaican slaves or Irish slaves, you're an ADOS. The proper term is DOAS, descendants of American slaves. That is the proper term, DOAS. But we all know why ADUNCE couldn't use the proper acronym, because it had already been taken. So y'all are fighting Yvette over a term that's not even grammatically correct. But anyway, fam, I really just want to get these points off my chest as well about why now and why I agree with Yvette and Tone on this particular topic. But anyway, that's another video. Like, share, subscribe, and peace.
Going over to Bloomberg. Bloomberg gonna run all of these ads. They gonna push this, try to push this Democratic like field more into the center, because the white ghost of voters that haven't consistently voted for them need them to be in the center. Well, they got a problem because they're gonna leave the black voters from voting at all. As I've said, my position is the same as Breaking Browns, is the same as we said at the conference. Down ballot Democratic. Understand, when I say down ballot Democratic, that doesn't mean that you have to vote Democrat on every single item down ballot. Let me be clear. When I vote, I've done it in 08 and in 12 and in 16. I didn't like the ticket at the top. But down ballot, you consistently vote Democratic unless you got a candidate that you fully research and you don't like their policies. I did that with Jackie Lacey here in Los Angeles. She was the Democratic district attorney. I didn't vote for her. I just abstained from that too. What I'm saying to you today is that the Republicans don't have a lot for us. What I'm saying to you today is, for our vote, you're going to have a lot for us. I want to have this discussion today. Please go to tonetalks.org, subscribe and donate, share this video. Let's get it.